But form processing, you already learned about the HTML, and there is one section about how to make a form. And for this section, I will focus on making a form. And before we make the form, I would like to explain some concept about the template inheritance. So when we deal with the object-oriented, if you learn about computer programming, we also have the inheritance, and in Django, there's also the inheritance concept, and we will learn how to deal with this template inheritance. And then I will explain about the bootstrap overview, okay? And at the last section, we will learn about filter function. So this chapter, you will learn the template inheritance, you will learn about the front-end framework, I will use the bootstrap, just a simple one, and then I will explain about the simple search function in the web. So in this case, we will do the search function with the table. So the template inheritance. When we say about inheritance, it's a kind of the concept about the object-oriented. We have the super, or we have the sub. We can say like superclass, subclass. In this Django, there is a template engine. We call it the template inheritance. And when we do with the template inheritance, we can build a base skeleton. So it's a kind of template that will be the common element for other web pages. So we can say it is to define blocks that the child templates can override. So what does it mean with this one? For this basic template inheritance, I will explain only two, include and extends. In some other explanation, there are many other things that we can learn about the inheritance, but I guess learning about include and extends is enough. So the include means we want to load a template and renders it with the current context. So we want to load the template. So template means view. Okay? And then we want to include the template within a template. So we need to include one HTML file, and then we include another HTML file inside. The template name can either be a variable or hard-coded. Hard-coded means, yeah, you put in the string, either it is a single or double quote. So we will see this one later. And we have also another template inheritance, which is extends. So this is the key. There are many templates using the extends. I guess you will also use this extends to build your web page. So the template system evaluates this template, and first it locates a pattern. So let's see just with example. It will be better for you to understand this concept with the examples. Now I would like to explain about the include verse. And to explain this one, let's create a new app. I guess I need to. So to make a new app, we can just type this one, python manage.py start app index. So you can go to the terminal. Okay, I'm still using the same project, which is big project. So I hope that you can follow this step by step, because if you miss one section, I'm afraid that the big idea of the web development is also missing. So in this terminal, we need to make a new app. So we are going to run Python manage.py start app, and the app name will be index. So you can just type my Python manage.py and then start app, and then mention the app name, which is index. If you do correctly, then you will see in this big project, there will be a new folder index. And you can see there are some files. So this is the generated files by the Django. Whenever you create an app, you will see this file. So to access this file, yeah, actually I missed one part. In this case, you need to do the setting, add the index in the settings. Okay, I'm sorry for this one. So you need to add the app in the setting. So in the big project setting, yeah, you need to add the app. So you need to add the app index apps dot index config. So this will be the same for every app. If you build your app with the FAQ, then you need to access the .apps.faq config. So this FAQ config is automatically generated. And also the user management here, you will connect to the method apps, and then you have the user mgmt config. And you have the new one, which is index, and then you will access dot methods and then dot index config. Okay. So you can just copy and paste this one. Okay, don't forget that you need to put this index app. Yeah, I think I will upload this later. Okay. And you need to create a new folder index under the folder templates. So I would like to use one more folder in the folder templates. If you know that this folder template will include the HTML file. So I just separate for every file with the directory, and then let's make this index. Okay, so let's make one more directory index. And after I create this index, later I will create two HTML files with base.html and time.html. So let's see later. First, we need to update the views.py. You already know, for every time we want to show the web, we want to show something on the web, we need to deal with the views, URLs, and HTML. Okay, so here I always give you this one: views, URLs, and HTML. So you need to check this consistency. Now we need to update the views.py in the index, because we are just creating a new file in the index. So I will update the views here. So this is the Python file. We will use render. So the render will connect to one HTML file, which is time.html. And we are going to check the current time. So this is the datetime.now. It means the current time function from Python. And this datetime is from a function datetime in Python. And we will see the time now into the web. And you need to put one link to access to this index environment. So you need to make one new file urls.py, which is in the folder index, and write this URL link. So in the folder index, you need to make one new file, this Python file, urls, and then paste the code. Okay, I'll give you some second to do this one. So this is the urls in the folder index. So when we finish with the views in the app, and then we finish with the URLs in the app, we need to update the URLs in the parent. Okay, so that's the step. Okay, we want to update with one new link in the parent, which is the path to the index app. So let's make the index with this one, and we are going to include the index.urls. So this will be in the parent. We have the URLs, and then we have in the parent. So we will have 4 links to access the web. The first is the admin, and then we have the FAQ, our first app, and then member, our second app, and now we have index, our third app. After you generate this link in the parent folder, now let's create the HTML. So there are 2 HTML files. We create the first, which is base.html, and then the second is time.html, and put it inside the templates and the folder index. Okay, so let's copy and paste this one and create this one in the base.html. So I will go to the templates, and there's a folder index here. Let's make a new HTML file, base.html. You can just delete this one. You can just delete this and then replace with the code that I give in the PowerPoint. So this is just a basic one. I will let you know more about this later. So this has a nav means the navigation. So this navigation panel will have 4 links: home, user management, FAQ, and other info. Okay. And now there is no link. We just put the shop Sub means like the section. We can go to one section which indicated in this one, but now let's keep it blank. Okay. And the second is to make a new file time.html. Okay, let's make a new file here time.html. So now I just try to teach you the very basic include function here. Okay, so you can see there is one include, and this include inside the template in the HTML file. I would like to include index this.html, and then we have if, the template if here, if now, it means if the variable now is available, then let's print the current date and time, and then show now. If now is not available, then now variable is not available. So the current sim, yeah, you will see what is the meaning by this current sim. Okay, now let's run the web and try to run with these links. I will run, and I will go to this Google Chrome. Oh, there's a space. What is this space? Okay, maybe okay, there should be no space here. Okay, if it is correct, then you will see this result. So it shows the current date and time is April 12th, and then the current time is 4:53 p.m. And the current scheme is HTTP. So this is the web. So we know that HTTP is the hypertext protocol, and it is related with the web. Okay, did you finish until this part? Now you can see something from this part. You have two different files. So before you have two different files, the first file is piece.html, and the second file is the time.html. The base.html contain the navigation. Okay. We have the home, user, management, FAQ, and other info. And the time.html is the content about time. Okay. So we can see the current date, time is this one, and the current theme is HTTP. It is in the time.html. So we want to combine those two files, and we want to show it in the web at the same time. If you take a look on this, we want to include the base.html in the time.html. So the result will be like the upper section. Okay, the upper section is the base.html, and the below section is the information related to time. So this is the information related to time. Okay. So when you use the include, means you will use the sequence where you want to put the include and then where you want to put your current page. So let's suppose you can see here, if I change this in a below part, what happened? Now you will see that the sequence is different. The home, user management, FAQ, and other info below the information about time, because I use the include index base.html after showing all the time information. Okay, so the position of this include will be different with the location. So if you put this one in the middle, like this one, for example, so it is before the current scheme and then after the if. Then yeah, it will follow your structure. So let me just return back this to the original, which is the top. Okay, we want to find the navigation in the top actually. Now let's go to the second one, which is about extends. We know already about the include, but extend is more dynamic and is more useful when you create your web page. Although this extends is more useful, but sometimes you still need to use the include. Okay. Now let's see how can we use the extends. Okay. We will use the base directory. Again, we will use the base.html, and there will be 3 HTML files. Okay, so we will get more 3 HTML file, and we are going to use extends for this inheritance. First, we will update the base.html. Okay, so we will create a better navigation, and then there will be 3 additional HTML file. We will create home.html, author.html, and info.html. So let's do one by one. Okay, we know the step. Views.py first, and then urls.py, and then we create the HTML. So in the views.py, let's copy this code. Okay, by now I guess you already understand the basic idea. In the views.py, we create one function, and the function name is home. And in this home function, we have one variable welcome, and the value is welcome to my page. And let's access home.html. Okay, we need to create home.html later. And then the second, we need to make the author. Okay, just let's create the author, this one. And then the author is Bernardo, and it will access the author.html. And then we need to add 2 more paths in the urls.py, and I want to add this one in the upper part. Okay. So you can go to the urls.py. Now we are in the urls.py. So you can go to the urls.py and then add 2 more paths. So the first path is blank. It means whenever you go to the index, it will go to the home. Okay, it will show the home. And then if you want to access the outer, then you will have the index slash outer. If you want to go to the today, so in this index slash today. After you have this, we will create the HTML. Now this HTML is more complicated than the first. Okay, let's see the base.html. In the original base.html, we just have like head, and in the body, we have very simple navigation. This navigation contains of 4 items: home, user management, FAQ, other info, and all of them are in the type of link. Okay. Now I would like to change the base HTML with this one. Okay, so you can copy and paste this and then replace the code. Okay, so replace the base.html with the code that I gave in the PowerPoint. So before I continue, let's see. So in the top, you can see there is a block about title, and then it follows with the end block. And there is another block, which is about content, and then there is another block about footer. Okay, so this HTML file contains 3 blocks. Oh. Wait a moment. Okay, so you can see, yeah, there are 3 blocks. Okay, so let me explain one more time. There are 3 blocks that you can find in this HTML file. The first is the block about title. Maybe I will not explain more about the title, but I will explain more about the content and the footer. Okay, so this block is prepared on the base.html. After we have this block, yeah, I put the navigation now is more flexible with the index. So we already have at least 3 heads. The first is the home, and then the second is today is, and the last one is the outer. Okay, so here it follows the head that we already prepared on the urls.py. Home, today is, and outer. You can find here home, outer, and today is. Now we need to create one new HTML, which is the home. Okay, so let's create home HTML in the index folder. Home HTML, and then delete all the codes here and then replace with the file that you have in the PowerPoint. And now you will see so you will see now there is a new template which is extends. Okay, and then in this extends, we want to extend the index base.html. And then I have the block content, and then I have another end block. It is, we have the block, and then we need to end with the end block. Okay. And this will be the content. Okay. So let's leave the home HTML like this one. Let's move to the next. We have outer. Outer.html. Let's make new HTML. Outer.html. And let's delete the code here and then paste the code that I give from the PowerPoint. And in this code, you will see again, now we are using extends. And then we have the block contents. Okay. Any problems? Yeah, I guess it's not that difficult if you can follow the step by step. And the last one will be the info.html. So I have only one line for the info.html. Oops, info. Okay. Now let's check what is the result when you run this index. Hmm. Why it does not available? Oh, let's see the URLs. Index, okay, in the index. Oh, I have one space. Maybe because of this space. Let's check. Okay, yeah, it's correct. Okay, because of the space, it doesn't work. Okay, until this text. Is there any problem with your code, or is there any problem with your PyCharm? No. If you click on the home, you will see welcome to my page. If you click on the about, okay, you will see that it is the information about the time. So it is the current time. If you go to contact, you will see that it is about the, it is about the outer. Okay. The user management and FAQ still not available. So we will deal this one later. So let's check one by one. So the HTML file, the first HTML file is about the base.html. So in the base.html, so this is the base.html. In the base.html, we have the navigation And the navigation, we will go to home, and we call the URL home. And then about, we call the URL today is. So we know that the today is the time. And then contact, we go to the URL author. Then if you go to the base.html, okay, when you click the home, okay, you can press Control. When you press Control Home, then you will see that it goes to this path. And then if you go to second, today is, you will go to the today is. So what is today is? You can just go to the views.today is, and the today is about the current time. The third one, you go to author, so press Control and author, then you will see that now you are accessing the author. Views.author, what is the views.author? We are accessing this one. The author equals to Bernardo, and then the author.html will be accessed, and there will be information about author. So in the author.html, yeah, we want to write this website with the author, and then yeah, welcome and enjoy. Okay. So we have 3 blocks as I explained before. Oh, wait a moment. Okay, yeah, I think this one is already explained. So we have 3 blocks. We have title, we have content, and we have footer. Okay. So every block, you can make a dynamic content. If you see this HTML, what is the body? What is the body here? It contains only, yeah, it contains only the navigation. So it means it's only the top. Okay. But what about the content here? Nothing. It's only block. What about the footer here? Yeah, it's just one line. This is footer. Okay. So I will not discuss about the footer now, but I would like to discuss the upper side of the footer and the below side from the navigation. What is inside there? So the block contents here, it is depending on the HTML file that I created. In this case, I have at least 2. You can see from the home.html, and then you can see from the author.html. Okay. So both of them, they are using extend. But what about if you use include? If you use include, the include only works in the time.html. Okay, let's see the difference when you do with the extends and when you do with the include. Home. Home is using the extend. About, it is using the include. Contact, it is using extend. Can you see the difference? When you are using the home, you use extend. And then for the block contents, you will fill with this one. So it means the top, okay, the top will be using the base.html, and then the content use these sections. Okay. And then if you go to the outer, it's also the same. The upper section of the navigation use base.html. About the content, use this. Okay, so it is about the outer. However, when you use the time, what is it? We just use the sequence. Now the base.html will be the top. What is base.html? The base.html will be all the content, including the footer. After we print this web in the top, then let's print about the time at below of the base. So that's why you can see this one, home, about, contact, user management, FAQ, and this is footer is in the top, and the information about the time is below. Okay, so this is the difference between include and extend. So in this case, we are using extend. So the top or the navigation will be always the same. You can just change the content. And the content will follow about what you want to write. Okay. But what about the info? Okay, so we will check later how to put the info with the footer. Okay. So for now, we just leave this one. There is nothing about the info because we don't put anything inside that one. But if you want to check, for example, okay, you can use extends in the info. In the info, you can just use this one. And let's suppose you change this one. So the base, now we want to change the footer. So the info, let's make it as footer. Okay, so you know footer, it will be always in the bottom bar. Okay. Now I would like to use the extends here, and then this part will be in the footer. If you run, there's no problem with the today, but if you go to home, oops, something wrong. Oh, it doesn't work. Yes, info. Is there anything wrong here? No. Oh, okay, something wrong. There should be an explanation here about the all pages are about Django, but it does not appear here. Okay, I guess, okay, let me check about this error. I will explain more on Thursday, okay? And I think on Thursday we will continue about this front end and also about the search function. Okay? So make sure that you can follow until this part before Thursday, because on Thursday I will keep continuing. So it is like a progressive. Okay. So when you fail to do the previous part, you may have difficulties on the later part. Okay. So I will try to upload this video as soon as possible. If you have any problems during this steps, please don't hesitate to contact me via email, and I will try to be available with you if you want to do the online meeting with me. so I can try to help you. Okay. Any questions, comments?